We are live. Welcome back to Superherocuts. It's your boy Jerry. Stevie, how you doing?
Good, man. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great. Uh, Congrats on the new house. We got a lot of things to get into today. A lot of James Gunn news. So we have. I want to make sure my X is active.
Yes, sir.
And no one's in here. Okay, here. All right. So James Gunn, top of the docket. James Gunn speaks on Batman in the DCU. James Gunn speaks on The Batman Part 2. James Gunn talks about the MCU and some of the issues that they had and why they had it. Spider-Man 4 rumored villains. Wonder Woman movie in the works. Clayface is cast in the DCU. The rumored complete cast for Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday potential plot leak. James Gunn talks about Lantern's show and how important are costume changes for heroes in a shared universe. Welcome, Hungry. Welcome, Derpy. What's going on, my guy, Stevie?
Man, let me tell you guys, man. This was the smoothest move, but also like the most stressful. So you guys probably know, but we're having a kid August 2nd, so it was just stressful. I had a smaller room. I had to move it over here because I just had so much stuff. And so yeah, man, we're set up, and that's why I couldn't make the show yesterday because we just had to unpack. But we got it done and we're here. So yeah, I'm so excited to get into the show. And of course, right? It's just like, of course, the one Monday we freaking miss, James Gunn wants to run his mouth in a good way. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, bro had to run his mouth. It feels like James Gunn. It feels like you knew that I was moving. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. It's Tuesday. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be mad. Tuesday. So no, we're here. Okay. So let's get right to this, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. Some of this stuff, I was just sitting to myself saying, man, I hope that you don't text me what you feel because I wanted to see how you felt about this kind of on the live stream. So James Gunn said a few things about the DCU Batman. So I want to talk about the first part where he says that his biggest issue, or he says that Batman is his biggest issue in developing all of DC. And the thing that he said was, and this is just the first part of it, he said, "I'm not writing Batman, but I am working with the writer of Batman, trying to get it right. Our two priorities are finishing Wonder Woman and our Batman scripts." And then the second thing to what he said, and this was about what he would want his Batman to be like, and he said, "I need to make sure he's not exactly the same as Matt's Batman, but yet he's not a campy Batman. I am not interested in that. I'm not interested in a funny, campy Batman." So we're dealing with that. I think I have a way in, by the way. I think I really know what it's just am dealing with the writer to make sure that we can make it a reality. So how do you feel about, James Gunn's comments with Batman? And I just want to really hear how you feel about all this.
I love it. It's nothing unexpected. It's kind of the direction I expected him to take. It's things that I didn't think he was going to be writing Batman, and the one thing that is new to me is that they are like really working hard to figure out how to get it right, which says to me that they understand that the DCU really rides on Batman. I know in terms of the launch, Superman and the success, but I promise you guys, when Batman comes, it's going to be a different ballgame. Batman is just that guy. He is just built different. You know, uh, Stevie,
You play too much. You play
that's
too much.
that's the white guy version of that N word. So
Yeah.
if you ever hear me say I'm built different, no, that's what I mean. But
You're
yeah,
funny, bro.
listen, they are obviously being super thoughtful and proceeding with caution because they want to be confident in the way they write Batman, the direction they take him in. Batman is that guy. Batman sells more comics than Superman comics. It's called Detective Comics. It's not called Action Comics. I know everyone's high on their Superman supply right now, but hate to break it to you, Batman is built different. Okay. Batman is the guy. And I think we're going to get a more comic accurate in terms of Batman and the universe being more, I hate the word fantastical. I just hate it so much. I think it sounds so corny, but it's not going to be a grounded in realism Batman. It's going to have some of the more mythical aspects to Gotham and Batman's universe. So I think that's awesome. I am super excited about it. I really hope they work with someone like Scott Snyder. I think Scott Snyder is the best Batman writer of all time. I'll argue anyone with that to the T. I got to say, Tom Taylor is crushing it right now on the Detective Comics run. It's incredible. It's probably going to go down as one of the best Batman runs of all time. I might even rank it when all is said and done, hoping they give him a lot of time on it. I might put it as my number 2 favorite Batman run under Scott Snyder's. Yeah, it is so good. But he did post on Instagram today. I don't know if you saw, I posted it to my story that he has a big DC announcement tomorrow. So I hope they're not pulling him off Detective Comics and putting him onto something else. I hope it's like a Detective Comics related crossover or event. I really want him staying on that book because he is great. And I got to say, I got to give the man credit because when they announced him to be the writer for Detective Comics, I think I even tweeted at him. I was like, please don't make it political because I don't want to say he's made stories political, but he has definitely touched on agendas and whatever in story, but he really hasn't done it with this series. So hats off to him. I don't think he saw my tweet. I just think he did it because that's what he wanted to do, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm really excited about this. I think they are going to knock the Batman out of the park. I just hope it comes sooner than later. What are your thoughts?
So I am very happy about this. And when I heard that James Gunn saying that he's having trouble trying to crack it, it actually makes me a little more secure about the work and effort that he's putting into what he's doing because, I will say and I don't think it's a negative thing, but I do see shades of Guardians of the Galaxy and Superman to an extent in terms of just the vibe and having many characters in one file, because that's just James Gunn's talent. Like James Gunn's talent is he's able to juggle multiple characters and give them a lot of shine, which is crazy why he didn't direct a Avengers file, which is just wild. But anyways, topic for a whole other day. But so I am happy that he's not directing or that he's not writing Batman. And that also just shows that he knows his strengths and he knows what he's great at doing. And I think that James Gunn is helping where he needs help, which is with the comic book lore and with making sure that everything lines up. And he also said in this Rolling Stone article that his office is just filled with comics. Like that's all he does is just read comics. And so and the best thing of a leader, right, is being able to have people where you can kind of copy yourselves and others, but also having people that you trust. And so I'm happy that he's in a room with people that he trusts and that he's the one that's going to read it, make sure it's accurate, So that makes me very happy. So yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a negative thing. And he's right. A campy Batman just would not work because, Superman's campy enough. You know what I mean? And the way that the Superman is, he is kind of campy.
I hate the word campy.
So corny.
I feel like the word released into our world of entertainment 5 years ago. Nobody used the word campy. And I think the first time I saw it was when people described Roger Moore as James Bond as campy. And I was like, okay, whatever that is, I don't like it. And then people described Batman Forever as campy. And I was like, okay, I get what it means, but it's a stupid word because when I think of camp, I think of summer camp. Okay. I don't think of corny, cheesy comedy. But yeah, Batman, you can't have Batman be campy. You got to have Batman. Batman's just, you got to have him built different,
Exactly.
Yeah. And you have to keep in mind that he's the guy they named their company after. Okay. So Superman's having his moment right now, but I promise you that's going to change because once Batman comes, bro, even when a couple months ago, there was when people thought the second we saw the first Superman trailer, people were like, "Oh my god, that shiny new toy looks so cool. I need my favorite Batman to be part of it." And it was the second we saw Superman, people thought about Batman. Okay. So let's just call it as up until this Superman movie was coming out, a lot of people would describe Superman as boring. I think that's incorrect. I think that a lot of people who say that have heard it from somewhere and they don't really know Superman, but it doesn't change the fact that up until James Gunn was making the Superman movie, people called Superman boring.
Yeah, 100%. And the fun thing is when I first heard campy, it was when they were describing Adam West Batman from back in the day. And
Yes.
that was there, and that was their version of campy. And I was and to me it's like, why can't you just call it corny or whack or whatever you want to call it? Like campy to me feels like a word that you use in a replacement of a word of something you hate. You know what I mean? Like that's why you would never hear her say the word campy. If it sucks, would it say it sucks? But yeah, man. I think that I think that what James Gunn said about Batman, I don't think it was out of line at all. And as I said, I'm just happy that they're just trying to figure it out because, as much of a genius James Gunn is, like trying to fit this stuff to the universe is very hard work. And a lot of people just chat GPT stuff, and by the way, I love AI, not hating on it, but a lot of people make up these crazy behind theories that just will never work, and James Gunn is the reality in the room. Like, yo, like I have to really figure out how to work. And so I can imagine how me just thinking about it, it just sounds like a lot of work. So I am happy that, they're trying to figure it out. And it seems like he has people in the room that's trying to, do that as well. But, and the one thing also, bro, about Superman is that I love how they're making Superman the biggest thing right now. Like the way they're marketing Superman, you would think he's the biggest thing in DC right now, with, I mean, bro, they're everywhere. I mean, I've been seeing I've been seeing him around my local town, bro, in Delaware. Bro, I've seen him in grocery stores. I've seen him Superman promo. Bro, it's everywhere. Bro, I've seen it at the mall. I've seen it at Acme. I've seen it at Costco. I mean, bro, Superman is literally in Fantastic Four too, bro. I saw that they're about to start doing the freaking Pop-Tart boxes. By the way, those Pop-Tart designs were freaking awesome. They are, I mean, Superman and Fantastic Four, they are not playing with the marketing. And I do think that what Warner Bros. And Marvel Studios are doing right now, I think they are molding a new way for, movies to be marketed now because the movie just business is hurting so bad. But yeah, man, I love everything that James Gunn said. I don't have an issue at all. So
yeah, I definitely don't have an issue. I don't think people are going to have an issue in what he said on Batman. I think it's the Marvel stuff that people are going to have an issue.
I heard
I don't at all. But yeah, I think this is a good update. I think that this is what you want to hear in early development of the DCU Batman.
Yep, exactly. And so, but James Gunn, all I say is when you talk, you got to deliver, bro. So, I love that you're communicating with fans, and I think that that's a good thing due to what happened in the past. But now you got to deliver. So, and I believe it will. I believe it will. All right. Next topic here. Oh, sorry guys. Let me hit your chats, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay. You already said that. All right, look here. I can respect Gunn for being able to see that he's not the guy for Batman, even though Batman is his favorite hero. Facts, bro. Super humble. Fingers crossed for Brave and the Bold. Release date revealed at San Diego Comic-Con because he said the Batman and Wonder Woman is what he's working on. That would be insane. That would be literally insane. And and I've been hearing some podcasts, and I was watching Den of Nerds earlier, just trying to catch up on the few days of stuff I missed. And the one thing he said he asked his contacts, is Batman at all Superman? He's heard nothing. So from what I mean, and I've heard nothing. I mean, and we would have seen it on me, Jerry and I, we would have seen it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like we were all over the internet. So as of right now, we don't know. But if it would pop up, that will be a crazy reveal. And whatever way they use to keep that secret, they need to do that again. Because I do like, even though like we follow leaks, like I still like to be shocked and surprised.
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold. Are you all good, brother?
Yeah.
I bet. Brave and the Bold would need to release in 2027 instead of the Batman Part 2 because if they don't, then what would be the big DCU movie for 2027? It would have to be Green Lantern or something. Yeah, you're not wrong. Or maybe the Batman gets pushed back another year. If you guys ever watch the new 52 DC animated universe Batman animated movies or the Batman 2003 animated show, that's a perfect tone for preparable. I've seen all of them, and the new 52 DC animated Batman animated movies are the best movies I've ever seen. For animation when it comes to Batman, I mean it is ridiculous. I would say for DC animation, those movies go crazy. Definitely the Quarter Owls movie. Oh my gosh, I rewatch that often. I used to think Superman was boring as well, but over time, through animation and through some books, I've grown to appreciate facts. Agreed. I'm so happy that Gunn somewhat debunked the whole Supergirl as a four pillar thing.
I didn't
He
see
did?
that.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I know that he changed the movie name from Supergirl, what is it? Woman of Tomorrow to Supergirl, which I like because the Woman of Tomorrow thing is so whack. But I didn't know that he debunked. And maybe him saying that Batman and Wonder Woman being worked on, maybe that's his way of saying it. I don't know.
Supergirl's going to be so OP because being a woman by itself is a superpower. So to be
And
a
she's
woman,
Kryptonian.
I'm kidding. I that went right over your head.
Wait, what'd you say?
I was saying because she's a woman and
Oh
being a
my
woman
god.
is a superpower.
I didn't even hear that. I thought you were talking about her being Kryptonian, dude.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I
She's like Samson, bro. It's the hair. It's the long hair that makes her so strong.
Someone at like a panel through like work, and she was like, being a woman in the industry is a superpower, and I was just like, oh my god,
Yeah,
stop
I just
it,
have to
like
walk
stop.
away, dude.
Yeah, I'm not going to take another word you say seriously.
Yeah,
Like
bro. I'm gonna laugh in her face for real.
yeah, it's just so cringe.
Right?
But yeah, I think I think changing the title from Supergirl or Supergirl or Superwoman.
Supergirl.
Supergirl is I think it's a good move because I agree. Woman of Tomorrow is corny, and it's more power. Like the shorter title, when it's just the name of the character, there's more there. I think it's more powerful on its own, and you almost only get to do that once with the first one. The Batman, Spider-Man. If they named Spider-Man Brand New Day just Spider-Man, people would be like, what is it, a reboot? People would be confused. So you only get to do it once, and I think that you sell more tickets without the actual phrase. I think the name on its own is more powerful.
Yeah. Off topic. I think the MCU has some of the best movie titling ever. Like Captain America, the First Avenger. That just it hits every time, bro. For me, it hits every time.
Even Thor: Love and Thunder is a great name,
bro. Yes, bro. Those titles, the Marvels, like the movie sucks, but the title for me is hard. I love the title.
I don't know.
Really? I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I don't like that one.
Really? I thought that joint was hard.
I just don't think that those characters are like good enough to warrant the name. So
no, yeah. Well, I'm not really talking about them. I'm just saying like the title itself to me is just fire. The Marvels, like, and
matched.
Batman Robin dynamic duo instead of Brave and the Bold. Yeah, but that's not a live action though, bro. That's an animation. All right. Let's get to the next thing. James Gunn speaks on the Batman 2. So, okay, in a Rolling Stones interview, James Gunn addressed the status of the Batman Part 2. He clarified that the movie is not canceled. However, he also mentioned that they don't have a script for the film yet. Gunn stated that the director, Matt Reeves, is taking his time with the script and urged fans to let him do his thing, expressing his frustration with frequent rumors about the sequel being canceled. James Gunn also touched on the separate nature of the Batman films from the main DC universe, explaining they are considered Elseworld projects. While it's unlikely, he stated he would never say zero on the possibility of Robert Pattinson's Batman somehow joining the DCU in the future, but ultimately Gunn emphasized that he's focused on the upcoming DCU slate, including Superman, while allowing Reeves to work at his own pace with the Batman Part 2. So, how do you feel about what James Gunn said about this, and about how Matt Reeves is kind of on his own timing right now?
I think that I think that it creates a lot of pressure for James Gunn, but I think that James Gunn is a creative first, which is why he has the partnership with Peter Safran. Like, James Gunn is a creative, and I think that he understands Matt Reeves had some issues. Matt Reeves, aside from that, like, you know me, I'm always going to keep it 100. I think Matt Reeves had some personal issues, but I don't think that that is the only thing that has held this script up. I think a lot of this script was delayed due to creative direction. And I think that with the personal delays, I think, like, if you're not locked in on something, it's much harder to, like, make a dent. I know for me, like, when I'm working, if I'm not locked in, like, things don't happen as good as they do when I am locked in. So I think if you're, like, trying to be a creative and you have some personal issues, you're not really in the right headspace to go through something where you're not sure on a creative direction for something like the Batman Part 2. It's a big decision. So I think that that probably held up a lot of it, but I also think that being the author that he is, like, he didn't know which direction he wanted to go with. And I think James Gunn wanted to make him as comfortable as he possibly could be, knowing that the Batman Part 2 is going to come out, probably going to be one of the larger gaps between the first movie and a sequel that we've ever seen. In terms, maybe not ever, considering they do like Terminator 5 or whatever, but you get what you know. But I think that he knew, like, listen, this guy is going to take a while. It's going to suck, but he's the only guy who's going to be able to do it and deliver the best product. I want that. I want to deliver the Batman Part 2, and the only way to do it right is to give Matt Reeves the space, and we're going to do that. And you know, I heard something recently where I think it had to do with the budget of Superman, and apparently they're not really expecting to turn a profit on it. And that just goes to show that, like, even at Zaslav, like, they really want to do the DCU right. And to do the DCU right, you got to give the creatives their space. And it can't just be about money, money, money. Which, listen, it's important. I'm never going to be the guy to tell you the money's not important. And anyone who does, I think you should stop listening to. But I do think that in certain aspects, like, maybe they're weighing the creative at 60% and the commerce at 40 on a couple of these moves. Listen, the Batman Part 2 is going to come out. When it does, it's going to be great. And, like, I'm not one of those guys when we find out on X that it's getting a delay and I'm going to be like, oh no, end of the world. Like, as I always say, I've been through getting impatient over delays with No Time to Die, the last Daniel Craig James Bond movie. This movie's going to come out. It's going to be great. It's going to suck. And I'm sure that, the big shareholders of Warner Brothers aren't happy about it. They're like, release this thing tomorrow. And James Gunn obviously has, Zaslav obviously has faith in what James Gunn's doing. And they're clearly not pressuring Matt Reeves to, like, hurry it up, figure out what you want to do with this movie. We need to release it now, which says a lot because there's a lot of moving pieces, which I know Hungry is always talking about. Well, if this movie is going to come out and then Brave and the Bold, like, they're going to have to figure that out too. And that is a pretty big moving piece that's probably going to end up being a big dilemma at some point, because I'm telling you right now, they will release 2 Batman movies. What they won't do is put them out in the same calendar year. I guarantee it. So which one's going to come first? It seems like both of them could end up being ready to release around the same time. And they're going to have a dilemma because they're going to want to release the DCU, Batman and the Brave and Bold, on time to be behind Superman, but they're also going to want to get the Batman Part 2 out. What I think is, back to my main point, is number one, they're giving him the space to breathe, because if, considering they know that dilemma is coming and they're not rushing Matt Reeves now, they are giving him the space to breathe. And it means creatives are going to have the space to breathe at the DCU. It's a very good sign. So for everyone who's worried about the delay, oh my God, this sucks, the Batman's not coming out, and to the Snyder cult, I don't even want to talk to you. But the other thing here is that what I think they should do, and what I think they will do, is when they have to decide which one is going to release first, I think they'll put out the Brave and the Bold first, because the Brave and the Bold is attached to the DCU, and that's obviously going to be prioritized above the Batman Epic Crime Saga. And they know the fans for the Batman Epic Crime Saga could wait. The DCU can't really wait as much as the Batman Epic Crime Saga can.
Yeah. This is a proven moneymaker, okay? Proven. It doesn't matter if it released tomorrow, tickets would sell out immediately, because fans are that excited for this, and the fan movement just shows that. Now we need to talk about Matt Reeves, because James Gunn also said something very interesting, which Matt Reeves is busy as well. Because he's also working with James Gunn on the DCU Batman. Not saying that Matt Reeves is directing, but James Gunn said in this interview that he alluded to something, and I'll pull it up, but he said something to the fact of, like, him and Reeves are looking at things for Batman. And he wasn't talking about the Batman, because he's not working with Reeves on the Batman. Not to mention, Matt Reeves also worked on that Amazon Prime show that failed. What
Prime show did he do?
Remember that Batman where Penguin was a girl?
Oh, the Caped Crusader. That was so stupid.
Yep. He worked on that. And so the other thing too is that and I don't know how the studio views this, but excuse me for my cough, my allergies. The studio, and this is my thought, I also think the delay for the Batman 2 might be longer than what people think, because they view the Penguin as an installment, which that just came out last year. And so because of the Penguin's success, they could not necessarily feel, or they, like, that might also be a reason why Matt Reeves is taking more time, mostly because bro had to work to develop that show, which takes time, and we just don't know how far he is in development for this whatsoever. And so Matt Reeves has just been a busy man, bro. So and it seems like right now, like, he has full undivided attention. But as I said, James Gunn said in this interview that he's still working with Reeves on other Batman stuff too. So I don't know how much he's how much he is being pulled, because there was also news that they are doing more spinoffs on the Batman. So does that pull him away too? I'm not necessarily sure. But but there's been a lot of there's been a lot of confirmed news that has come out about this Epic Crime Saga universe that they are trying to do. Also, one last thing that I want to say to you guys as well. I'm really not a fan of when people try to assume how people feel. And so be very careful, guys, in the way that you address this thing, because I saw some, creators talking about that James Gunn doesn't want the Batman 2 to be successful. And you have no proof that shows that. And you're just assuming off of article quotes where you can't hear the tone of someone's voice, or you can't see their facial expressions, and you're trying to assume the tone of what someone's saying. So we also need to be very careful about that too, because look, we all have intuition. That doesn't mean it's always right. So just wanted to say that, because that was really annoying me for the past few days. But yeah, man, Matt Reeves is taking his time, and bro, you might be right. Brave and the Bold might drop before the Batman 2. Now, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I would be very shocked. I really would. But
I don't.
I'm
I
not
don't.
always right.
I don't think they see the Penguin as something that's staving off the Batman sequel, because as great as the show was, it doesn't satisfy fans who are looking to see Batman. And I do think that, as patient as I am willing to be for this movie, there are a lot of fans who just aren't. And like, listen, like I said, I always keep it 100. We have a lot of people in our space and fandoms that are just petulant children. They are like the most entitled, bratty, sometimes intellectually inferior group of people I've seen on the internet. Aside for some of the people in the political space, but that's another story. And I mean, just look at the Snyder Cult, for example. So, and I think that there's a lot of people that do try to judge James Gunn and like James Gunn's personality when, like, the guy has delivered movies before and they've all been good. So I don't like, even if you don't like what you perceive his personality to be, and I'm very intuitive, all that, but I do agree with what Stevie said. I think that there's a lot of people who try to judge like how someone's feeling, what their intentions are, their motives, all of that, when they have very limited info to do that. And I do see a lot of that with James Gunn. So I think that was a good point. But listen, these movies are going to come out. They're probably going to be great. And once they are, you're not going to see comments like Kevin's where James Gunn's making all this about himself. Like, people are just going to be like, the movies are great. I really don't care what James Gunn says in Entertainment Weekly,
100%. 100%. I mean, he's got some balls to put this whole thing on his back publicly. Like,
Yeah.
we all know Feige did that too, but it was more so behind the scenes. James Gunn is like going out and just yapping. You know what I'm saying? Which means that the dude really just believes in what he's doing. Which I like that kind of edge because I'm an edgy guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Jerry and I get along so well, because Jerry shows that edge too. That's just I like being around those types of people. Some of y'all might think that that's cocky. I call it confidence, but that's just my opinion.
Me too.
All right. Basically, Gunn said that Zaslav is correct, but not exactly, and said that there are more important characters, not just those four that David listed. Okay. Good. Yeah, he needs to walk that because that Zaslav Supergirl comment was insane, bro. Supergirl's a pillar. That was crazy.
That's like the comment that the studio board wants to hear,
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
Remember when that Disney Zoom call leaked and they were like, we need more women, we need more. I'm just going to say, we just need they were like, we need the, trying to use this without using loaded words. We need the social justice hierarchy.
Yeah,
that's basically what they said.
Yeah, bro. And look, and I love Supergirl, but a pillar, bro. Wonder Woman, bro. Wonder Woman. That's the female you use. Goodness gracious. Batman Robin dynamic duo instead of Brave and Bold. Oh, you're saying you want that instead of Brave and Bold? Nah, bro. No.
Yeah, hell no.
No. Brave and Bold is where it's at. Basically, what Gunn? Oh, we said that. But Jerry, general audience will be okay.
No, he's saying that. That's what I always say in my voice. But Jerry, the general audiences will be confused. Yeah.
Okay. I thought, sorry, Hungry. I'm like, Hungry, are you having an inferior moment? I was like, this cannot be so. But I didn't even see the quotations. I'm sorry, bro. I was like, there's no way he's saying this in all seriousness. Okay. Sorry, bro. Do you think Wonder Woman in 2027 is a good idea if the Brave and the Bold is releasing after the Batman Part 2? I think so. Wouldn't be against it. A Wonder Woman movie would bang.
Something in your honor. Hungry. I just tweeted something in your honor. Checking the Twitter.
I think by releasing Brave and the Bold first, it allows Matt Reeves to finish his trilogy, because the Brave and the Bold wouldn't require a sequel anytime soon, because you can use that is a great point, bro. That is a really good point. James Gunn is making all this about himself when it comes to DC Studios. Wild statement. Kevin, if Gunn was all about himself, then he'd be working on the DCU Batman, but he was humble enough to realize he's not the one for Batman, even though Batman is his favorite hero. Facts. The amount of money DC is going to make by making both Brave and the Bold and Batman Part 2 is going to be crazy. Those are two guaranteed $billion movies right there. I don't know. So we in the world that we're in, we have to be very careful with that billion word, okay? We have to be very careful. There's not a lot of movies anymore that's making a billion. And when we get to the MCU conversation, we are going to talk more about this. And I want to tell you guys publicly, I'm going to stop saying that too. I am a part of the problem. I'm going to be
say that.
Yo, dude, I throw I throw billions like it's crazy. Yeah. The only movie that I believe is guaranteed is Doomsday. I do think Doomsday is a guaranteed, but other than that, I'm going to be very careful. When I throw around that word because I've been watching a lot of it's this girl. I forget her name, but she been popping up on my TikTok. But she analyzes box office, and I've really been watching it, and.
Send me her. I want to check her out.
I got you, bro. I got you. But I really understand now, like how it works, and like a lot of people. We'll wait until we get to the MCU conversation. David Zaslav is already split up with Warner Bros. Into two companies. Even if Superman is a success, that's not going to change anything for Warner Bros. That's not true, bro. That is not true. Disney been pushing for diversity and inclusion into the parks and studios. Yeah, and Parks and Works Studios, it does in movies, it does not. And honestly,
adults are like,
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And as for someone that goes to the parks on a regular basis, it isn't as inclusive as you think. Yeah. Just saying. Definitely when you're in Florida.
Everyone who talks about it is like the least inclusive people. It's just
yeah. And people think that like Disney goes out their way, bro. They really don't. Like it's not as gassed as what people want to say. Okay. Now, next thing here, James Gunn spoke about the MCU as well. So let's break down what James Gunn said. All right, here's the article here. It says, in an interview with Rolling Stone, James, by the way, shout out to Google AI for summarizing this, bro. It makes my life 10 times easier. Anyways, in an interview with Rolling Stone, James Gunn stated that the mandates for more Marvel content on Disney Plus contributed to the perceived decline in the MCU success, suggesting it led to quote-unquote Marvel fatigue. He contrasted this with DC Studios, emphasizing that they don't have the same mandates and will focus on releasing high-quality projects based on scripts he personally approves. Gunn, who previously directed Guardians of the Galaxy with MCU, believes the pressure to produce a large quantity of content for streaming without the same level of script scrutiny was detrimental to the overall quality and appeal of the MCU. He explicitly stated that was not fair, it was not right, and it killed them, referring to the impact of these mandates on the MCU. And Gunn highlighted that DC Studios under his leadership will prioritize a more selective approach to content creation, focusing on scripts he deems to be right. So how do you feel about these comments from James Gunn?
Yeah, I think that he is 100% right. Like, they put out a lot of trash and hurt them. And people are less interested in the MCU because of shows like Agatha, okay? And it's just a fact. It's indisputable. Obviously, there are other shows in the mix, but for some reason, I get a strong reaction whenever I say Agatha, and people get really mad at me for it. So you know what that means. I'm going to say it, okay? And yeah, no, but Thor: Love and Thunder is part of the problem. There's a lot of content that they have put out that is just absolute garbage. And you know what a lot of people said? Well, Agatha brought it to the MCU a lot of new fans. Well, where were those fans for Thunderbolts? Why didn't they show up? So don't tell me that, you know, making musical-like shows for theater kids that aren't really into the MCU brings new fans to the MCU. Because apparently they watch Agatha and that's it, okay? They didn't become real MCU fans ever. If they did, Thunderbolts would have performed better in the box office. So, and it's not just Agatha, obviously. But when I say it on threads, like the most annoying people in the world all have a temper tantrum. So, but yeah, Thor, Love and Thunder, I would put it in there. And I don't need to name them all. Or if you watch the show, you know the ones that I'm talking about. And if you are an MCU fan at all, you are not blind to the fact that they have put out a lot of low quality entertainment over the past couple of years. And it's been a long time since Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame came out in 2019. Okay. We are in 2025. It's been a long time. And we were talking about this course correct for so long to the point that I started calling it a myth. Like, what course correct? It felt like we pulled it out of our ass. So, is it a little surprising that James Gunn said something like this so publicly when he has a relationship like he does with Kevin Feige? Sure, but he kept it 100. And as a fan, I really appreciate that. I like honesty. I like brutal honesty. So, yeah, I'm surprised he said this considering his relationship with Kevin Feige. I'm not Kevin Feige, okay? So, as a fan, I appreciate that he said this because if he's saying it, there's a lot of people in Hollywood who think this way.
Yeah. So I agree with something he said. I do not agree with some other things that he said because so I agree with the issue of quantity and when you were trying to do too much. And this isn't like making a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like real life hundreds of billions of dollars being put into projects that are failing, right? When it comes to YouTube, quantity will make you money. Disney Plus and streaming is not YouTube. So it's a whole different ball game, unless if you're like Mr. Beast or something. So one of the things that the MCU, they do have a lot of successful movies where the scripts just weren't finished, and that's the way that they work, and it did work in the past. Iron Man 1 script was not done. Avengers Endgame, and Avengers in Infinity War and Endgame, those scripts developed as they were filming. Thor Ragnarok, which which a lot of core fans don't love, but the movie did crazy in box office.
So did Thor Love and Thunder.
That script, what's called it, the Avengers. That is another file where like the script was just not done. So I don't. So where I am at is, I think personally it's a leadership issue, in my opinion, to why this failed. Because yes, it is obviously them putting out projects that we just don't care about, like Agatha, like what is another show that like even Ironheart, right? Like no one wants to watch that. But I do think that like Kevin Feige was like, okay, you had Jon Favreau. Favreau could pull that off. Oh, great. He's a master director. He can do evolving scripts. Russo's, that's their thing. They have evolving scripts throughout their files with just some stuff. I get it, but I believe that like with some writers, or with some the directors, you got to know what their strengths and you got to know what they're capable of doing. And this has been a common problem with this last phase because they just don't have the team that they had from before. And if you saw that was a problem, you bring in the right people to write the scripts that people need. You know what I'm saying? So, as I said, like not having evolving scripts worked for them. It did.
I think you're cutting them too much slack on this one because I think that you're partially correct. I think, yes, it worked for them where they didn't start production with finished scripts. But you know what they had? They had characters that people cared about. They had much better actors who were able to work on the fly because they understood the characters they were playing and they did a good job. When you're working with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, like you are going to deliver a better project because those guys, especially someone like Robert Downey Jr., he could ad lib on the spot, and I don't think they had that kind of talent or that character appeal post Endgame. And I think they dealt with the consequences of Avengers Endgame and not really planning. I think there's a lot more that went into it than just the finished scripts, because I think the finished script worked for them because, and you did say the team, but I think it goes beyond the team behind the movie. I think it goes to the team that's on camera as well.
Yeah, and so just to clarify, when I was saying team, I was talking about everybody. Like just the whole, yeah. I mean, they had the right people to do it. You know what I mean? And I think that, and which is why with the MCU now, as much as people don't like, what's it? I was about to say Brave and the Bold, Brave New World. This word "brave" is being used so much now for some reason. And excuse me,
Brave New World.
Yeah, it's like, come on, what is next, bro?
I gotta say,
New Day.
Like Brave New World makes more sense to me, but I hate the title Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Like, you are trying to sell me that Batman is brave. Like, let Batman show us that he's brave. The second you tell us, oh, our brave boy Batman, you make him sound like a bitch.
Yeah, Brave and the Bold is a great show name, not a good movie name. Like,
it's a good show name for kids, not
bro,
for adults.
Yes, but bro, when I was a kid, that show was gas. I used to watch it all the time.
But it sounds cool to someone who's like 7 years old. If you're 25 years old or older and you got to be told that Batman's brave, like, you just make him sound soft. You know what I mean? Like, imagine they called James Bond's Brave Adventures.
Or Superman, Symbol of Hope. Oh my God, that would have made me crash out. Oh my God,
bro. Oh my God, I can't.
Bro. When James Gunn first announced that Superman was happening, there was fan arts of that, of like Superman. What was it? Superman, Symbol of Hope. I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me, bro.
I also am so over people on X, specifically one person who's like inserting Superman into the one political issue that he cares about, and he's like, media literacy. It's like, bro, chill out, okay?
Relax. It's annoying, but yeah, bro, and this is why, bro, I do think that as people can hate Brave New World all they want, people can hate Thunderbolts all they want, but Marvel Studios is right now front loading their better actors. That's why we see Sam taking the forefront. That's why we see Yelena and the guy that plays John Walker. All of those casts except Ghost, but everybody in Thunderbolts and Brave New World, those are really good actors that could be able to work on this fly that we have seen in the past, and they're talented enough to do that, obviously. And I also think that has something to do with them going for more talents, like a Joseph Quinn, like a Pedro, like a Vanessa, like a Eben Moss. Like, I think they're trying to cast up to maybe replicate this thing that they are doing. And I do think there's some greater cost to that, but but other than that, I mean, I do agree. I mean, when Chapek first came, okay, Chapek's job, right, and was to push Disney Plus. It was. And he just put Kevin Feige in a freaking blender, bro. He put him in a blender. He said, yo, you have the most successful financial thing ever. We can triple it with streaming. And it just didn't work. And yes, Falcon and the Winter Soldier charted. Yes, Wanda Vision charted. Okay, yes. But then it just kept ticking down and down and down and down and down every single time. Another thing that I wanted to talk about too, what is also funny is, and a lot of people who are into like A24 movies don't want to admit this, but I'm going to go on this ledge and say this. I do think the decline of movies in theater is because of the MCU. I believe that when the MCU was booming and in theaters, that was when we saw a lot of the box office successes that were not just MCU files. And I do think because of the MCU's failure lately, I think they are part of the reason why a lot of parents and families and people aren't going to the movies anymore. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I'm just throwing it out there right now. There's
a lot of people that agree with you. I think there's a lot of other factors that people overlook, and I think it has to do with the way people are watching content. I think it has to do with YouTube, Netflix. I think it's a much more about the lifestyle around consuming entertainment, and it's a paradigm shift. And I think that, like Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese, they agree with you. They'll say, Marvel's been awful for the movie business, and I think that it really goes down to YouTube, Netflix, and the streamers. I really do.
Another thing too, bro, was like, if I'm getting Brave New World 3 months after, why would I want to go to a theater as well? You know what I'm saying? Like, these movies are also hitting the streamers, bro, so fast now.
Yeah, that's why, and now for me, where I really only want to see a movie in Dolby, and if it's not in Dolby, like, I don't even waste my time. But movies only stay in Dolby for 1, maybe 2 weeks. So if you don't see it then, like,
you're pretty much cooked till
my system at home is going to be better than Prime or whatever else comes after Dolby. So Dolby's the only way I get the experience where it's like the best of the best. And if I don't get that, like, I become a snob about it because I want the best. And, so, and they're not going to start investing into, I know they're rolling out, I think 25% or 30%. They're trying to increase the Dolby auditoriums across the country. But I don't think that they are going to put additional Dolbys into the same theaters that already have them. So I don't think that will change. But I also don't think most people care that much about that. Like, I think that most people are like, oh, IMAX is supposed to be the best. If I get that, great. If not, whatever, because I know I've seen people like going to theaters I know that don't even have these things, and they're like excited about it. And I'm not going to be like, what are you, dumb? Like, let them have their fun. But, I think people just want to watch it at home because it's more comfortable to watch it at home, and you don't have some jerk next to you who's talking during the movie or on their phone or something like that. And, keep in mind, Netflix is now making movies for people that are on their phone the whole time. It's like, so if that doesn't scream that the way people are watching content is completely changing, I don't know what will.
Bro, I just rewatched Extraction 2, like right before I moved. Bro, it's like an Army John Wick. The movie's insane.
I didn't really like the first one that much.
Did you see? No, I watched the second one.
I haven't seen the second one.
Dude, you're gonna love it, bro.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome. All right, let's hit some of these here for let's see what they said. All right, David Zoss. We already read that. Gagatha is trash, and Love in the Blender is trash. Your Base is trash. Multiverse Mid is trash. The Marvel is trash. Woo, Wakanda Forever is trash. Hashtag recast T'Challa. Facts. MCU put out less or more content. People still going to complain and be negative. MCU has made money under Disney. Yeah, but but Disney wasn't the reason why the MCU made more money. Disney might have gave them more money to do what they wanted to do, but it was Kevin Feige and his team and the actors. I wish I could fast forward to the future because I'm just waiting for the X-Men. And me and my friend are so done with this multiverse saga. A lot of people are, brother. Where was all this backlash through phase 1 through 3 when majority of these films were catering white folks? There was no MCU is dead quotes going around. Yeah, but the MCU is dead quotes that are going around isn't because of catering. It's because of the quality is trash. I mean, like if you look at the result of Black Panther, bro, which is one of their biggest grossing movies of all time, which embraced just African culture, bro. Like it isn't about it really isn't about like race and culture, bro. Like what makes a movie successful first is great writing, great plot, great story, and then also keeping out, just political agenda, bro. And like the reality is that the political agenda has been more focused on rather than telling a really good story. And when you do that, these are some of the issues that we have ran into with the MCU. You know what I'm saying? You have a great character like Anthony Mackie, who is one of the best actors that you have right now, and you made him go on a whole entire speech that was not meant to be in a Marvel show. And then and it hurt the brand. And Jerry and I literally just talked about this earlier. If you have like having social justice or political anything, it just doesn't look good on your brand, bro. It's just facts.
Yeah, and it's like, because regardless of whether you agree with the politics du jour in the movie or not, half the people aren't going to. And those people are going to sit there and feel like they're being lectured at, and they're not going to like it. And you are, and it's like, you feel like, okay, rubbing your nose at your customers. That's how I felt when I was watching Blue Beetle. I was like, I feel like this movie is talking to me in a condescending way, and I don't like it. I came out of my way. I spent money on a ticket, and here I am. I can't even enjoy this movie because it's like treating me like a jerk because I don't agree with their politics. It's ridiculous. And if you don't think that a lot of people didn't watch the next MCU show on Disney Plus after that lecture at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're delusional, straight up.
And mind you, the show is freaking fire. It's one of the best shows they made, and you got to understand, like, because we cover this a lot of times, even when we could be crashing on about it, we are able to separate what they do outside versus what they do in. A lot of people don't have that patience, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just facts.
I really don't.
And studios, like, you are catering to your customer. You have to this isn't a stance, bro. This is just fact. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter what side you're on, bro. It's just ridiculous, like, stupid.
Yeah, and sometimes I have a really big problem with the politics. Like, I really don't like that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was like apologetic about terrorism, and you don't know if someone just disagrees or like has a strong stance against something. And that's why, like, these are mass market movies. You know what an argument I hate is when a show comes out on Disney Plus for the MCU or for Star Wars, and people are like, well, not everything's for you. That's okay. You don't have to like everything. Bro, if it's Marvel or it's Star Wars, it's for Marvel fans and Star Wars fans. This isn't like some artsy A24 that's like hitting a niche demographic. These are mass market products, okay? They're not niche driven. So that's an intellectually inferior argument because you're appropriating it from products that are meant for a really artsy, niche, targeted demographic for the most mass market movies in Hollywood. To even do that, it's like you didn't even think about the argument. You heard someone else make it and you thought it sounded good.
Facts. And like, I've worked in corporate America where like my boss had a really firm stance, and he literally had to like just step back because he knew that it would hurt customers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just facts. Okay, how likely will we get Darkhawk in the MCU? Probably not likely, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Asher Angel is Darkheart. That we fire. Me and my friends all had a great time watching Thunderbolts. Is sad that's hoppy. Yes, bro. Thunderbolts is such a freaking great movie, and I do think it's going to kill in streamers. I really do. I think it's going to be a big streamed file. I think we're getting Paradise Lost and Wonder Woman in 2027 to put a little space between Batman 2 and DC Batman. I think that would not be a great decision at all. I think that'll be too much mascara stuff going on. I think you got to do one or the other. Honestly, I think you should chalk the show and just do the movie. That's just my personal opinion. Chalk the show, do the movie, boom. Brendan Lamar as DCU Batman. No, sir. I don't agree, but yeah, it's fine.
I've never really seen him in anything to really say, but I think it's wild how everyone's saying it out of nowhere, and it appears to be mostly driven based on his pictures.
Yeah, given the Superman casting, is going to be out of left field, dude.
Yeah, and I know some people are like, well, some people fan cast. People weren't fan casting David Cornsweet the way people are with Brandon Sklenar.
Also, someone tried to use this on me on TikTok. Do not try to use John Krasinski's Reed Richards as an example of Brandon Sklenar. Bro, he was Reed Richards for 15 minutes, y'all. That doesn't count. Oh my goodness. Like, bro, they really try to say you're wrong because they used John Krasinski. Bro, he was Reed for 10 minutes, bro. Stop it, bro. Like, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Yo, Jerry, some of the stuff that gets pulled, bro, it's just like
It's
mind
crazy.
blown.
Yeah, I know. It's like every day you think you're not going to see someone dumber, and then you're like, well, this is why we use the term
Yeah.
intellectual inferior.
Nothing beats though. My number one funniest one was when that dude under comics explained screenshotted the wrong new Avengers comic.
Oh yeah,
That is still like the funniest thing I've ever seen, bro.
that same kid who I had to tell him, like, what did I say? I was like, I think he's talking about the new Avengers / Avengers Hickman saga. I responded to his tweet under Comics Explained, but that same kid, I happened to scroll on TikTok and ended up on his live. And it was right after I got home from Thunderbolts. And he was asking people if they liked the movie. And I was like, I thought it was great. I didn't really like the third act. He was like, what didn't you like about it? I was like, I just thought it was weak. I didn't really like the void scene with Sentry on his knees crying or whatever. And his response was, well, I could show you that that's exactly what happened in the comics. And I'm like, but that doesn't mean it's good. Like you're telling me, oh, well, you should like it because it happened in the comics. Yeah. A lot of things happen in the comics. I don't know if you're aware, but Marvel Comics have been around for a very long time. And not all comics are good. Like movies, not all movies are good. And it's like it should be common sense, but it's not.
Yeah, 100%. To be fair, I did see a lot of David Cornswell at fan cast Superman for his first time. So I do want to say this too, because I covered this closely. Because this around the time I think me and you probably first met, I think. I remember the Cornswell stuff only started when he was rumored to be in talks for it. Same with Aaron too. Aaron Pierre was not a fan cast until it was official that he was in talks for. I'm telling you, bro. Like a lot of a lot of times these leakers will leak it, and the people think that they came up with these fan casts. No, you're just taking leaker stuff. I'm telling you. I remember it like it was yesterday. Because honestly, a lot of people wanted, and which is wild. More people wanted Nicholas Hoult than David Cornswell at that time, which Nicholas Hoult looks nothing like a Superman. Let's say Superman makes a bill. Do you think it will make Zaslav give James Gunn the green light to announce the entire 6-year plan for San Diego Comic-Con? I don't think Superman's success gives him that.
Yeah, here's the other thing. I don't think they are going to have the full plan by then, because the fact that they are talking about how they are, and they didn't use the word struggle, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they are obviously struggling to come to a creative direction with Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Oh, I hate that name. But if they're struggling to get to a creative direction in that, I don't think the 6-year plan is set in stone yet.
Yeah. And he also said in this Rolling Stone interview that they had to cancel a project too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just adding on to your point that the thing's constantly evolving every day, so do you think Daniel Craig would still be a good Magneto? Yes. Daniel Craig wants to be Magneto, you cast him. Yes.
I would prefer someone who's Jewish. I feel like we always get screwed on this, but I do think Daniel Craig would deliver as Magneto. Also, Magneto has white hair, so having a little bit older an actor, not a big deal.
Daniel Craig wouldn't be a bad professor either. Just saying. Shave his head bald. I can see either role for him.
It seems like they're going to go with Bryan Cranston. I don't know. Everyone keeps saying that, who I think would be great.
Daniel Day-Lewis would also be an insane casting if they pulled that one off. Okay. All right, now let's get to James Gunn talking about Lanterns. I wanted to pull this because, when the Lanterns first dropped, he talked about it being grounded, and a lot of fans were pissed off. They're like, what do you mean grounded? So James Gunn gave an explanation. So this is what he said. He said, James Gunn clarifies what grounded Lantern show means. He says, I meant grounded in terms of fully rounded characters making realistic choices. Many off-world science fiction stories are grounded. How does this make you feel about him adding a clarification to the things he said?
I love that. I love that because, first of all, that's what I want to hear about a Green Lantern show, but it's not how I think of the word grounded, and I love that he's kind of challenging how we think of that word.
Yeah, I also agree, bro. I think that because like the two words that are so abused is street level and grounded. You know what I mean? And like in our space of of fandom, a lot of people abuse these words. So I love that James Gunn is as you said, changing the word grounded to this topic of making a realistic choice. And also, shout out to Aaron Pierre. It's crazy, bro, that he tore his arm or whatever right when like a month before he got casted. That's insane. So if you guys go on Aaron Pierre's Instagram, he posted this workout drawing of basically him like rehabbing back to get ready for Green Lantern, and then in the caption is like in Blackest Day and Darkest Night. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Question for you, bro. Do you expect something with Green Lantern at Comic-Con?
I wasn't, but I think it makes sense. Like they've been shooting it for a while. I hope they show something. But Comic-Con happens, I think, at the end of the month. So, yeah, I do think it would be now that I think about it, yes, because Superman's coming out like 2 or 3 weeks before that. And at that point, all of the diehards, meaning not casuals, will have seen it by then. Like, if you're waiting 3 weeks to see a Superman movie, I'm sorry, but they're going to move on with the marketing. And I'm not saying they're going to stop marketing Superman after 3 weeks, but they are going to start looking to the next phase or plot point in the DCU. And I think that would be the right time to show it because I think it's the next thing that's coming out. And, coming off the heels of Superman to hype people up for Green Lantern, like you got to make the universe feel fleshed out. And it's hard to do that in the beginning when, we see Superman. It's like the only thing we've seen is Superman. So you want to move to the next thing pretty quickly. It makes sense that, I expect to see Green Lantern at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I saw news I think yesterday that they just wrapped filming. So I think we gotta see something, man. Just give me a flying scene in space. That's all I want.
Yeah.
It's like you don't gotta give me much. Just show me Green Lantern flying with the ring like this. That is one thing I hope they make a change to. I was not a big fan of the way Guy Gardner used the ring. I like the traditional way of we see it come from the ring in your movements. Show it. It looks more like bending. Not a big fan of it, but I hope that with Howland John we get the more traditional use of it. I don't like where like you just wave your hand and then it doesn't radiate from your finger like from the ring. I'm not a fan of that. That really annoyed me. I'm being nitpicky, but
You're always nitpicky with that kind of stuff, though. Like
yeah.
You know what you want when it comes to the visuals.
Yeah, bro. I like certain details. It just makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Okay. What you guys say? My friend literally told me why did they cast Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler as John Stewart and Hal Jordan and not make the movie, but they're making a Supergirl and Clayface movie. I told him I feel you, bro. It's crazy, bro. That Green Lantern doesn't get a movie, but Clayface and Supergirl do. I know it's wild, bro. It's wild. Doesn't Lanterns what does it say? Doesn't Lanterns wrap next month? I'm pretty I saw let me check right now. Did Lanterns wrap filming? Well, let's see. Sorry, guys, I am wrong. Thank you for the correction. They wrap filming next month. Sorry, guys.
So that's what I said. There's still wait. I want to take Kevin's question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead,
Kevin. Before I define this for you, I want you to answer the question that we've always asked you. Why is it not okay to recast T'Challa, but it's okay to recast Thunderbolt Ross? I want you to answer that. You've never answered that. From the first time you commented on this show, you brought that up, and we've been asking you ever since you came on, whenever that was. So I will answer this question for you, but you have to give me a real answer, not an evasive answer, not some. You got to answer the question for real, and I'll answer this for you.
Bet. Bro, give me a costume reveal. Yes, bro. Bro, I'm telling you, bro. James Gunn doesn't have to give us anything crazy for this reveal. Like, give us a live action look at the suits. Give us something like that. I think that would. I think that would go crazy, bro, on the internet. Okay, next thing here, Wonder Woman. That's my like theme song in my head whenever I think about the game. So, in an interview with Rolling Stone, James Gunn mentioned that he finds rebooting Wonder Woman to be easier than rebooting Batman for the DCU. He explained that there hasn't been as many definitive portrayals of her in movies and other media as there has been for Batman, giving more creative freedom for a new interpretation. He also noted that Wonder Woman's origin story, rooted in Greek mythology, provides a rich and exciting backdrop for storytelling, unlike Batman's more complex and convoluted origin. Okay. Now, guys, the way he's talking, I call this Jerry language. So, Jerry, do you understand what James Gunn is trying to say here?
Yeah, that he. I'm sorry. Can you repeat it for me?
Yeah. So basically, James Gunn said that that doing a file for her is way easier than Batman because there hasn't been as many definitive projects
Yeah,
of her. So it's
yeah,
easier for him to, build around her versus with Batman, everything's pretty much set in stone already.
100%. Because with Batman, fans have expectations. Fans have seen Batman a number of times. Where Wonder Woman, we've seen two Wonder Woman movies, and one of them was great, the other one sucked. But they are doing they're trying to do the really comic accurate thing with the DCU, as opposed to what. Not that Wonder Woman was bad to that regard, but you know they have much more freedom with Wonder Woman because they get to make this movie the way they just want to do it. They naturally want to do it. Whereas when they're making the Batman file, they have bigger limitations because they have to do something different than what's done before. And that creates limitations.
Yeah. Wonder Woman 1 is one of the most perfect movies I've ever watched. Like that movie through and through is like darn near perfect. We're talking about writing, cinematography, CGI, Gal Gadot's acting. Like one thing I love about Gal, and she does this in every role that she's in. Her talent and her acting is showing expressions, and she has little like fidgety expression, and it's just so cute. Like she's one of the cutest people. Dude, I remember when I first saw the movie, dude. I got a big post over it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was so hype. And her theme song with the freaking guitar is so Zack Snyder. By the way, it had me so hype.
No.
But anyways, um, I do think that James Gunn is right, and he does have an edge because Wonder Woman 1 was felt like a Captain Marvel ish type of file, where Captain Marvel 1, we got to see her in the past. Same thing with Wonder Woman. Her movie was in the past, and she was with Chris, who was amazing as well. But it was kind of a movie that kind of like was a origin for the past. And I think that what James Gunn could do possibly is that we get to see her integrate into this present world, because with in the DCEU, it kind of happened off screen. She kind of just popped up in BVS, and then we got a prequel, and then we saw her in Justice League. Versus where we get to see her integration. And by the way, the DCU is already 300 years old, or sorry, it has been 300 years since metahumans have been public. So that leaves us out for a lot of history. And I would personally like a world where Wonder Woman has already made impact, but we still get to see her integrate into this new world versus where we got to go back to freaking 1920. I don't want to go back there. I'm sorry, bro. Like I want to see a present day file with her in it. So, by the way, 300 years, bro. That's a long time, man.
Yeah, yeah. A lot can happen in 300 years.
Facts, bro. Like that's a long time.
Yeah.
Which and bro, it got me so excited, bro. I was
Bro,
jittery when I heard about that.
they can do so many cool stories. Like they could go back and do what was the Captain Blackbeard? Oh man, but there was like a really cool story in Grant Morrison's run where Bruce Wayne went like back in time and was like dealing with pirates. It was sick.
I'm searching up now.
They could do stuff like that.
Let me see. Is it the return of Bruce Wayne?
Yes.
It says Batman travels through time, becoming a witch hunter. What the frick?
Yeah, bro, it was wild. Grant
That's
Morrison,
insane.
like he does some really weird stuff that is really cool. I like Grant Morrison. I think that there's some of his stuff I don't like, and I think he's overrated. And there's a lot of people that seem to like him. I don't know, but I liked his Batman run. I just think it's a little overrated. But I did really like the return of Bruce Wayne. That shit was hard.
That's fire. Let's get it, man. All right, bet. Any chats in here for free, guys? By the way, Kevin, man, haven't responded back yet, bro.
Yeah,
Same as usual. Every time, dude. Cricket.
every time, bro.
Crickets, bro. Gunn gave he's writing Wonder Woman vibes to me. It did sound like that, huh? It did. My friend said no one cares about female hero movies unless they're hot. So whoever they cast as Wonder Woman, she better be sexy. Let's just say the rumor cast are dope.
By the way, Kevin, you know why you don't answer these questions is because your answer doesn't align with your fake values and your fake ideology. Fact. If you answered it, you would be contradicting your own ideology.
You just sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know this is probably very likely, but I hope they don't do 2 Wonder Girls. Only put Donna Troy. Facts. Only Donna Troy, bro. By the way, Donna Troy in Titans was fire. Sergeant Rock would be sick in a world with metas.
I would like to see Sergeant Rock. I like him.
But I'm pretty sure that's the movie that James Gunn talked about that got canned because the script just was not good. So might be, but he doesn't need a movie. He can pop up in something. That's how I feel. He doesn't need his own movie.
I agree.
Yeah, there's other people. Like don't get me started with the Green Lantern. Okay. Now, Spider-Man 4. Okay. So with Spider-Man 4, and Spider-Man 4 news has been everywhere. So, by the way, guys, want to say something really fast. So there was a article that just dropped where basically it says something about Spider-Man 4 had just started production, and this website where they're not verified, they put Mark Ruffalo in the production cast. Just want to tell you guys that is not true. That is not confirmed by Marvel Studios whatsoever. So if you do see people saying that, it's not confirmed by the studio just yet.
God.
Yep, just want to because like I know some people were freaking out, but I was checking some verified sources and they were saying like, yeah, this is not official at all. So praise the Lord.
Yeah, it would be a massive W if we never saw Mark Ruffalo again.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so for Spider-Man Brand New Day, it says Viper and Silver Samurai will be the main villains for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So how do you feel about these two possibly being in this movie?
So the thing is like, I'm disappointed. I really was hoping it was going to be Mr. Negative, but now that I hear about Silver Samurai, I guess with like the samurai weapons they were looking into, it kind of makes more sense with that information that we got. But I'm not like that big on Silver Samurai. I mean, I know he's like a master swordsman and he is really talented martial artist, but he is, he's got like a tachyon charged sword, and he's really mainly an X-Men villain though. I think his first appearance was in X-Men or Daredevil, one of the two. But man, Mr. Negative is so cool. Like, he is just such a badass character, and he would have been perfect for this. And he's a big Brand New Day villain. And then Viper is, she's also been known as Madame Hydra. She's a bit cooler, but like, I don't know, not really what. I'll tell you this. If I was picking the villains for Spider-Man 4, neither of these two would even have crossed my mind.
I agree. Wouldn't have crossed my mind either. You know, you guys wanted street level. Well, here you go, buddies.
Bro, no, because Mr. Negative is street level and he's one of the best.
Bro,
Doc Ock is street level.
bro, I'm just
Green
trolling, bro.
Goblin
I'm
is
just
street
trolling.
level.
Bro, I'm just trolling. Bro. I had to just throw that shot out there. Nah, it's a joke. But nah, I mean, look, you can make any villain dope, so you know. The only question I have is like, you know, what does it got to do with Doomsday? Like, and that's kind of where I'm at.
It doesn't.
Like we're getting Fantastic Four, where it's like centered in, this movie just seems like it's going to be on its own thing, and my whole thing is like, I don't know, I I have a lot of points, but I don't want to make a point because I don't have like a place to go with it. So
Also,
I'm gonna just tell you how I feel. Like I'm gonna just tell you guys my points, but I want you guys to know that I don't have an answer. I don't know, but the way that I feel, it's like this part of me feels like this is a movie that should be just done after Doomsday and Secret Wars if it's just its own thing, and you give me one scene that freaking links to it. Another part of me feels like there is some underlying secret that we just don't know about that links it to Doomsday. Another part of me feels like, you know, Dustin is maybe just trying to do his own thing and trying to set the trilogy up, and then so I don't know. I don't. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know.
I hate about Silver Samurai is like he just looks so goofy. Like that armor looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like
and
Shredder vibes, but not cool.
yeah, like bro, I get it. It's like he's a samurai, but it's 2025 and you're going to be on the streets of New York City looking like that. It's a little goofy. And I feel that way because there's a new villain in the new Spider-Man run that just started by Joe Kelly, and his name's Hellgate, and he looks kind of similar to him. So I've thought about that for a while. And here's the other thing, though. Like, Marvel has never dropped the ball on a Spider-Man movie, ever. They have, in the MCU, they have picked the wrong villains. They picked the wrong villains in both of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and I'll argue that with anyone. But when it comes to the MCU, they've never picked like the wrong villain for the movie. I don't know how big I am on Vulture. I like Vulture. I don't really like him for his own movie, but for Homecoming and the purposes of it, it worked. And Mysterio was great. The villains in No Way Home are great. It's just an oddball to me. Like Viper and Silver Samurai, you know, these are the kind of characters, like if I saw in a comic, I'm like, oh, get me through this one. So I'm just to the next arc in the run or whatever, you know?
Dude, I'd rather see Venom, bro. Like, you gave us the whole symbiote sign at the end, and it's like,
Yeah.
two? Like, come on.
And
yeah.
you teased it. Like you did a post credit in Venom, not the Last Dance, whichever in the second one was called. And
Let There Be Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage. And you did the post credit teasing Venom and Spider-Man crossover in No Way Home. And now we're getting this goofy Silver Samurai. Like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah. By the way, the Shredder looks way cooler, guys. Just saying. The Shredder's way cooler.
And Shredder's like, bro, it would actually be really cool if we got Shredder in the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Shredder's awesome.
Yeah.
Shredder's awesome. Okay, yeah. It's just like, bro, why? You gave us the whole symbiote tease, and then you come up with this crap? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You can't be kidding me. And if you want to save the symbiote for Secret Wars, like, bro, no. You teased us the symbiote, bro. No. We I need that payoff.
And Spider-Man, like, and my taste and my thoughts evolve, but as it stands right now, Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character, and I want this movie so badly. I want to watch it yesterday, but I 100% agree with Stevie that it would be, because again, here is an example of me taking a step back out of what I want and my own biases, and it would be better for the MCU if this movie has nothing to do with Doomsday. You table it to post Doomsday. You do not. And keep in mind, we have gotten 2 Spider-Man movies after Endgame. So, like, if they had to push it back, we really don't need this movie before Doomsday. And if it has nothing to do with Doomsday, it's not going to help.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to know what'll sell on merch? A black Spider-Man suit. Just saying, guys. Like, the black MCU Spider-Man suit, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Moneymaker. And also like the appeal to the normal fan. That's what they want, bro. They want black. They want the symbiote. They want Black Spider-Man. They want Spider-Man to be a powerhouse. Like they
Coming
want that.
off of the Spider-Man 2 game with the black suit, like you have established the black suit with the current Spider-Man fandom through that game. It is the perfect time for a symbiote suit.
Yeah. Bro, it's all over Fortnite too, dude. The kids love Black Spider-Man, bro. It's just, I mean, the suits are sick.
Yeah, it really is.
By the way, Tobey Maguire's Black Spider-Man suit is like,
it's so, bro. Those posters were so hard,
dude. When he's sitting in the rain, oh, bro.
The Black Spider-Man suit is easily the best and the most iconic alt suit. 100%. Like, no,
100%, bro.
Yeah,
100%.
The Black Superman suit is pretty cool too, but it's not as iconic as the Spider-Man one.
Yeah, the Black Winter Soldier one is pretty high. It's pretty high up there too, or like that freaking dark gray.
Yeah, but the Winter Soldier isn't like, you know, he doesn't have like comic book covers with an alt suit that people know from. Like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. So would you say that that's your favorite alt suit of all time?
The Black Spider-Man suit, 100%. However, in the movies, I would either say, or no, because he's had the black suit in the Raimi. But I really love the Iron Spider suit. I love that one so much, bro.
And it gets a lot of hate. I never understand why. That suit is gas.
So hard. I realized today I got to find it, but I have a Spider-Man action figure in the.
I got one too. Wait, one second.
Actually, no, it's on the Iron. I have the integrated suit, the one after he got like the nanotech back.
Look at.
Oh, that's sick. That is so sick.
With the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Freaking, bro. You can never go wrong with a freaking Spider-Man costume, bro. You just can't. All right. Okay, guys. This is going to be a long one. Oh, wait. Did I not add this? Okay. There we go. Okay. So this is going to be a pretty long, I apologize for you guys, but this is a pretty long list. And I'm laughing just because the list is dumb long. Okay, so I want to read the whole entire list for Avengers Doomsday, rumored. It's already been debunked by like some valid people, but I still wanted to read it for fun. It kind of got destroyed. I'm not gonna lie. Like people were like, "Yeah, this is not real," but I wanted to read it for just fun and enjoyment and to be funny. Okay, so here is what we have. Okay, Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner in The Hulk, the greatest MCU actor of all time. Benedict Wong as Wong. Bro, just two people that you and I both can't stand. Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop.
Wait, Brie Larson's on there?
Yeah. Yeah, but bro, this list got like destroyed, so I don't know.
I don't believe Brie Larson. I think she's crashing out right now because she's not in the movie.
If you don't have Spider-Man, there's no way you're putting Brie Larson on this team. I just don't believe it.
Did you see her haircut?
Where she looks like a boy?
She has short hair.
I thought she went bald, right? Because she's in a play.
Oh, I thought she did it because she was just like
no. She's playing. I'm not sure. So yeah, I said the little boy thing is I'm pretty sure she's playing like a boy or some type of boyish role. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I just not how I would describe it.
Yeah, because I think I saw an announcement that she's in a play, but I could be totally wrong. But I'm pretty sure I thought she shaved it for a play.
Yeah, I figured she was doing it because she was crashing out.
She might be, bro. Who knows? But all right, where we at? Don Cheadle. Okay, Karen Gillan as Nebula, Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, Hawkeye makes sense. Aman Vanelli as Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel. Danae Gurria as Okoye, Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. He Kwan as OB. Monica Rambeau is in here. Botan. Adam Warlock, Riri Williams, America Chavez. That's Jerry's favorite character of all time. Um,
Yeah,
Sylvie,
I have her action figure.
Sylvie. Yes, he has every Funko Pop possible, and it's only one Funko Pop, by the way, guys.
they
um, Iron.
didn't make any more. They weren't selling so well.
Yeah, yeah. They sold out. They sold out.
Ah, there.
Yeah, did they sell out or did the comic book guys just throw them away because they were worth
Yeah.
a penny? Okay. Anyway, She-Hulk, Wonder Man, Stinger. Oh god, these are some bad ones. B-15, Monica Rambo or Maria Rambo, aka Binary. Sorry, Jean Grey, Storm. I always say this name wrong. Phyla. Is that how you say it?
I
Phyla.
don't
Yeah.
Violet.
Kaizen is Phyla. I'm gonna say Phyla. Mobius, Star Lord, Nick Fury, Charlize Theron as Clea, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, and Chris Evans as Steve Rogers.
Could
Now
you
here's
send me the list because there's too many names to remember. So
yeah,
when I'm talking about it, I'm not going to know it.
of
Thanks.
course. Just send it to you, bro.
Thank
Now here's the kicker, right? No Tom Holland, no Evangeline Lilly, no Paul Bettany, no Elizabeth Olsen, no Oscar Isaac, no Daredevil cast whatsoever, and no Sean Gunn. Obviously, he's with the DCU now. And it said that Bradley Cooper is in this as Rocket, and Vin Diesel is in this as Groot.
you. There's a lot of names on this. It feels like Marvel decided to make so many garbage shows and movies, and it was like, you know what? We really are about inclusion. Let's include everybody and anybody. And, you have so many people on here that are like, I don't like Wong that much, but like, I could at least understand Wong above some of these other ones because we've seen him a lot and he's been in some successful movies, like it or not. But let's talk about the ones that are really surprising. Yeah. Xochitl Gomez, America Chavez. I'm not surprised because of her multiverse power, but like that's kind of the proof that the course correct's not there. She-Hulk, that's a problem. uh, I don't not like Cassie Lang as much as everyone else, but I know a lot of people didn't like her, so why? Who else?
The only reason why I would want America
Mark
Chavez to be in it is the only way, bro. I would want America Chavez to be in it is if Doom just steals her power. I would love that. It just leaves her powerless. Totally fine with that. But yeah.
I'm happy that Adam Warlock is in it. I really like him. I'm hoping he gets his chance to shine because he's a great character. But yeah, it's a really long list. And you know what? When you look at this list, you notice is not many of them stand out as like, oh, yes, I'm pumped there in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you take out all of your popular guys, Tom Holland, Elizabeth Olsen, even Evangeline Lilly, she's even liked by fans. No Oscar Isaac, Moon Knight, he's over a lot of these characters. That is insane to me. So I hope this is not true. If we just have the casting chairs and we get a few extras like a Chris Evans, that'll be fun. And then so came it's like I expect Nick Fury to show up. I expect to see Mobius and the whole TVA crew. I expect to see those characters. But some of these heroes, man, like I get it. It is the Avengers, but like we can still know they're there without having them get their whole scene of this and that and that. That would just hurt the movie. So I hope that this ain't true. I hope this is not true.
Yeah,
a lot of characters.
If this is the list, I got to tell you, this movie's cooked.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, and these could be cameos, but but like even when I watched Avengers, right? Like there were characters that popped up that didn't get spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Like we knew they were there, but they weren't spotlighted, if that's even a word. So they need to be careful with that. Okay. Now, let's get to this next thing here. I'm gonna just keep it. I don't think I have a graph. I think I forgot to get a graph for this, but it's fine.
Wait, real quick, I want to do Kevin. Kevin, I know that that's a fake answer because I remember everything, and I know you don't care about box office. I know you always say that box office isn't important. They should just do what they think they should do and not worry about box office. So that's a fake answer. It took you long enough to think of something, but it's fake.
Facts. Okay. Now, possible Avengers Doomsday leak. I sent you this last week, but I wanted to bring it up here. So if you guys don't want to hear this leak, please leave the show. I'll count to 5. Last time to leave before we get into a possible leak. All right, you've been warned. All right, so I wanted to read this possible leak. As I said, me and you talked about this a little bit last week. So it says this. According to the leak, members of the design team are working on a concept art related to a major battle at Mansion X. One piece of the artwork is titled Invincible Avengers. In Avengers Doomsday, this team is tasked with resolving the incursion between the two worlds and rescuing Monica Rambeau. These heroes, along with other characters from that universe, later protect Loki at the Citadel after finding the TVA and Doctor Doom's plan. The team members include Sam Wilson, Thor, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, aka Scott Lang, Jennifer Walters, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Bob, Bruce Banner, Shuri, and Baku Namor, and the Fantastic Four, who joined the mission because Doom kidnapped Franklin, the son of Reed and Sue, and took him to a place called Universe X. Meanwhile, John Walker, Ghost, and Red Guardian remain on Earth 616 alongside other Avengers to protect the planet from an unknown invasion. The remaining Thunderbolts unite with Wakanda, Talokan, and the Sorcerers led by Wong to defend Earth. So that is the plot leak from Avengers from Avengers Doomsday. So, bro, how does that sound to you? Just from your sorry, he's not on the screen. I will start with my opinion, guys. I think that this is not a bad story. This actually sounds really cool to me. The question that I do have though, and I just want to make sure I missed it. I did not. Okay. I am very interested to see like how they are like what are they rescuing Monica Rambeau from? Because the last time we saw Monica Rambeau in the Marvels, right, she was with the X-Men. So are the X-Men holding her hostage now? Is it like the X-Men on this Earth that is colliding with our 616 MCU? Are they beefing now? So now Monica Rambeau is jailed. Like I wonder how the whole thing will work. Because now that I'm thinking about it, it definitely means that we're going to see some type of battle. If this is true, right? If this is true, we are possibly going to see some battle that happens between our like Avengers team with Namor, Black Panther, whoever, Sam, Shang-Chi versus this X-Men team. And it seems like if this league is true, it seems like maybe they're going to have some encounter, but then they're going to figure out, Doom is behind this, et cetera, and then band to, come together. I also will be very interested to see how this whole Citadel
week. Could you send it to me?
Yeah, I can send it back to you. Are you found me just copying I'm gonna copy and paste and send it through text.
Yeah, whatever is easier.
All right, bye. Yeah. Another thing that I also thought was very interesting is, as I said, so if this leak is true, the TVA is working with Doctor Doom. That would also be very interesting because that would be a freaking kind of a code switch. Because it was pretty much universally known that Loki's kind of holding the multiverse together to give them more time. But it would be fun to see Doctor Doom convince the TVA that he is the answer and them falling away from Loki's way of doing this. So this does seem very, 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 very interesting. And I'm very excited to see how the TVA is more so going to link to the Fantastic Four, because I do think there's something going on. And we talked about this last week. There has to be some possible thing maybe going on with Reed and the TVA and the multiverse. And I do think Reed is that, middle ground in between this TVA Citadel and Doctor Doom thing that's going on. So, hey man, some of this stuff is cool. I can't even hold you. Some of this stuff is dope.
Yeah. Also, like, if it's Doctor Doom, the TVA, Sam Wilson, Thor, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, Yelena, Bucky, Bob, the Fantastic Four, Namor, like Franklin, John Walker. There's a lot of good characters in this league compared to the list that we had. So feeling better about this movie. Like that could be cool. I think there's a lot of characters here that are redundant and unnecessary. And it's like in a movie like this, where it's so big and so important, like you have too many characters. But what I'm hoping is, and Marvel does this a lot, they'll have a lot of characters in the movie, and then that character will have like 5 seconds of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping characters like She-Hulk and America Chavez and Wong.
Yeah, it's just quick cameos.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it probably will be. Another thing that I thought was very interesting was, you know, there's been a lot of rumors and talks about Wakanda having an impact on this story, like not our Wakanda. From
Thank you, Smiles Frown.
Not from our 616. So the thing, bro, that I was thinking about is, and this is a theory outside of the wazoo, wouldn't it be crazy if a multiversal T'Challa was with this X-Men team figuring out this whole incursion situation with Beast about what's going on? I think that'll be a very interesting way to introduce a new T'Challa, because there have been rumors that that is happening in this file, and I think that it would be cool if, like, when this Avengers and X-Men confrontation happened, what if the X-Men do have T'Challa on their side in this battle and Shuri just gets cooked with her and M'Baku? I think that would be pretty insane as well. So I think there's a lot of like interesting, surprising things that we just don't know about.
You know what's interesting, by the way? So Marvel has a new comic. I actually haven't read it yet. It's called Marvel Knights World to Come.
Okay.
And T'Challa dies. And they also have a comic called Death of the Silver Surfer that came out. Maybe they're trying to get people on board with killing these characters off.
Can't work, bro.
I agree.
It's not gonna work. Because it isn't like these characters were introduced 2 years ago. And Black Panther is one of the biggest grossing Marvel superhero files of all time, movies of all time.
Yeah,
you just can't replicate that with a non-T'Challa character.
They're trying to.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
No, money.
Oh no, yeah, I'm pretty sure the 800 million, but from a fan perspective, it was not love.
That is true. I mean,
same thing with Thor. I mean, Thor did great in box office, but the hate just made them kind of fall away. Which so.
But these plot leaks sound good. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But these plot leaks sound good. Like, it makes me excited for the movie. And when we were talking about that list on the last topic, like, that list doesn't make the file look good, but the plot leak makes the file look good. And then when you think of the context of Marvel movies, and when you think about a lot of character appearances, a lot of them are very, very short. Like Guardians of the Galaxy were in Thor: Love and Thunder, and they were in it for like literally 30 seconds, So
100%. 100%. So yeah, man. Nah, this is good stuff. So I hope that they keep evolving. RDJ's been popping out too. Of course, he made a video to support Ironheart. You kind of have to.
I saw that.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, you got to do everything to save that file, which it's already cooked. But okay. Now, last time of the night, because this news came out kind of last second, so I replaced it. So we have a Clayface officially announced, okay? And his name is Tom Arise Harries. He's been cast as our DCU Clayface. Obviously, we are getting a Clayface project, and we're most likely going to see him in the DCU in general, given that we're getting Brave and the Bold and other Batman related projects after that. Um, do you? It. I really wanted to ask you this question because I I know that like a lot of fans are questioning. Do you have an idea of why the DCU is possibly like jumping on Clayface like this, where like they're announcing castings for him and they're really trying to get fans onto him? Like, could you understand why? Because I know you've read a lot of them. So
So they said something about Matt Reeves, and I'm confused if this is DCU, Elseworlds, or
I can check
Batman
right
Epic
now.
Crime Saga.
Let me check.
Yeah, listen, I like Clayface. I think he's a cool character. I don't know if he warrants a movie, but I think, like
All
I
right.
said before, I think James Gunn probably got
So
like it looks good, the budget's good, we're doing it.
so this is the Clayface casting for the DCU.
That's interesting. Because why would Matt Reeves have something to do with that?
Well, and bro, and that's what I was saying is that Matt Reeves is also working with Gunn on DCU Batman stuff.
How do you know that?
No. I am saying that because James Gunn was saying in a quote that when he was like working for stuff with Batman, he said that him and Reeves were like looking at stuff. And I
Damn.
and I was like, so Reeves is working on the Batman too, but also he's involved in Batman stuff for the DCU as well. It's weird, bro.
That is weird. I still don't think they're doing I don't think they're merging it, but that is interesting.
Let me
Maybe
wait.
he trusts Matt Reeves of Batman, and he's like, this guy knows what he's doing. We get some advice from him, and we want to make sure. They also probably want to make sure that their Batmans are distinct from each other.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, and that is a very fair thing. Like to have him involved to make sure that there's, as you said, those changes are so vast, and Batman being a father just takes it to a whole nother level. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's a that and that also probably explains why he went with Damian Wayne, and because he like maybe that's why he's going so far down the line in Batman's
I
life.
gotta say,
Yeah.
I don't want it to be so Bat family. Like, yeah, you could have Damian, maybe Dick Grayson, but like, I still want to see Batman just being Batman and not Batman being Bat family.
I disagree.
I think sometimes the Bat family gets to be too much, and it's like Batman's the one that's the man, like he's the guy. Like, I don't want Batman to be sharing focus with so many characters when I watch Batman for Batman, not Batgirl.
I mean, I feel like we not full. I mean, we have gotten a lot of files where Batman is the man, and I think that this is the era where we get to see Batman with other characters, and we get to see just a different side of him that we've never seen in movie form. And I think when you're in the DCU, um, I think you could still have the solo Batman file vibe with having Bat Family there. It's just that when he's kind of, but Batman will have to do his own thing. But I think,
That's what Justice League is for. Like,
but
you could have the Justice League, and then you have Batman working with a team.
but you also gotta,
I think like Damian is enough. Like
but
maybe
you also gotta think about right. Damien's gonna be on. Oh well, apparently, rumoredly, if Damien does go on the Titans, then that does leave Batman with kind of some room to do his own thing. But like, I expect like Nightwing to pop up. You know what I'm saying? To help with
popping up is one thing.
yeah, pop up for a quick kind of did you see the file on Batman under the Red Hood like back in the day? So how like Nightwing kind of popped up for like a couple times to help him track and fight. Like I don't mind. Like I don't mind that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I just don't want it to be like the James Tynion run, where a lot of the stories revolve around like Batgirl's relationships, and then the Bat family is dealing with, Batgirl and Kane, and then like I don't want that.
That's fair.
It was a good comic run, but like I still always prefer a Batman run rather than, and that's the thing. It was Detective Comics Batman. It wasn't a Bat family title thing. It was Detective Comics, but it was a Bat family thing.
Yeah, very fair. Very fair. Bet. Okay. All right, that's our last time for tonight. We're gonna have to rest these chats and we're out of here. Um, bro, just we already talked about Kevin. He said Kevin's a child. Wait, what did he say?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
thinks that it would be
Shouldn't recast T'Challa just to please fans because they are going to backfire and blow up in their face in the box office. Yeah, blow up is going to boost the box. Oh, yeah, exactly. Sorry, this is what it's going to boost the box office, bro. If you do another Black Panther movie without T'Challa, the movie's cooked. There's no way it's going to make
and
over.
you don't care about box
Yeah,
office. Like
exactly.
you don't care about box office, and if you did care about box office, you'd be able to recognize that T'Challa's inclusion would benefit the box office.
Exactly. Like you do you not understand? This is one of the biggest grossing movies of all time, bro.
Yeah.
Like you just failed to do it from almost do 2 billion to 800 million. Marvel Studios would looked at that funny. I'm in. I get those are big numbers, but they looked at that weird. Kevin, yeah, exactly. Most people are not stupid. If Tom Holland died and they recasted Peter Parker, most people are still going to go watch Spider-Man because they know the character's bigger. And look, and here was the other thing about Tom Holland Spider-Man. They have Miles freaking Morales. So if they really wanted to, they could just make Miles the main Spider-Man for a while to, give them time to grieve Peter. T'Challa doesn't have a Miles Morales. Okay? Yeah. T'Challa is T'Challa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, that's like David Cornsweet, and I pray to God this never happens. There is power in the tongue. I'm not saying this, but this is like if David Cornsweet broke his back on set, and they brought in Michael B. Jordan to play Val-Zod, like there would be no reason to do that. Like, and I think Val-Zod's cool, but there's no way that he replaces a definitive Superman. It's not possible. He's an Elseworlds character. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, this is common sense, bro. Common sense. Like, come on. Smiles Frown, shout out to you, dog. Thank you for the dono. Just can't say that, bro. We hope you were doing good, my man. Hope you're doing good. I kind of prefer if the new T'Challa came from the Fantastic Four universe since T'Challa debuted in Fantastic Four. That would be insane. But I think we're going to see him come from that X-Men universe. That's kind of my theory. That's kind of going in my head right now. I think it would be smart. And like, what would be dope is if the Avengers try to get mixy with the X-Men and T'Challa pops up and just dismantles everybody. That would be hilarious.
I hope they do, but like, I just don't think they're making the right decisions when it comes to this kind of stuff right now and picking the right characters. Like, they went with Shalabal instead of Norrin Rad. Like, in what world does the people that do that and already did Wakanda Forever with Shuri as the Black Panther bring T'Challa back?
Fair. A very fair point. Yeah, we just have to see, man, because the track record ain't tracking right now.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens.
I always say, when there's smoke, there's fire.
100%. Yeah, you have been saying that a lot lately, bro. You have. So, all right, y'all. We're going to end the stream here, man. We hope you guys had a great time hanging out with us for the past almost 2 hours. Clips going out per usual. Follow us on TikTok, X, Instagram, Comic Cuts, Super Cuts. Hope you guys have a great night. Stay crispy, man, and peace out.
Peace.